Hello everyone and a very warm welcome to this video lecture series in which we are talking about how we can improve and optimize our neural network. So until in the previous video lecture, we have been talking about regularization, and basically regularization was used when we are facing the problem of overfitting in our learning algorithm. Okay, and this problem of overfitting was basically seen in the cross validation, or what is often called as the development data set. And further, we have seen two types of regularization method as of now. The first one is the L1 and L2 regularization, and the next one, that is the more advanced method, was the dropout regularization. And now in this video lecture, we are going to see some of the more other ways or some of the other regularization methods that could be used in order to solve the problem of overfitting. So let us continue to watch this video lecture. Okay, so the first thing that we are going to study in this lecture is we are going to talk something about the data augmentation. Okay, because what we have often seen in these lectures is that one of the method for reducing the overfitting problem in the learning algorithm was that we can induce more and more amount of data to our learning algorithm. Okay, but we often know that introducing more and more data to the learning algorithm is not a very cost efficient method. Why? Because having more and more amount of data is not a very easy task. Okay, and many people face this problem that they don't get enough amount of data while training their learning algorithm, and this often causes the problem of overfitting in the learning algorithm, and this causes the problem of high variance in the development data set. Okay, so what is data augmentation? So by data augmentation, we mean that these are some of the ways in which we can artificially create data for our learning algorithm. Okay, although this data is not as much efficient as the data you can get from the actual sources, but again, this is a kind of modified data that you can extract from the original data set. Okay, and as soon as I will continue explaining in this lecture, so the data augmentation would be very much clear to you. Okay, so now, so let us take an example that here you are again taking the example of the cat classification problem. Okay, so basically you need to predict the y equal to 0 if this is not a cat picture, and you need to predict y equal to 1 if this is the image of a cat. Okay, so you have here a limited amount of data set with you, and due to the limited amount of data set you are facing the problem of high variance. Now, what I can do is I can do some modification in this image, and after this modifications, this image will become a new data for the learning algorithm. Okay, so what can I do here for your understanding? I am performing a very basic operation here, is that I am tilting this image, okay, left to right and right to left. So what will happen if I tilt this image? Okay, so if I do this inversion of this image from left to right. Okay, so this is the new image that is obtained. Okay, and now I can include this new image that I have got after the inversion to my data set. Okay, so this image, the new image that I have obtained, will now act as a new data for my learning algorithm. Okay, so in this way a new data is created for my learning algorithm. Okay, so now in this way we can see that more and more amount of data can be gathered for our learning algorithm, and we can see this is not a very costly method in order to gather more data. Okay, but again, this method is again a method that is generating some artificial data based on the original data. So again, this method is not as much efficient, okay, in order to improve the performance of a learning algorithm. And now we can perform some more modifications to this image, in order to obtain a different set of images. For example, what you can often do is you can crop this image. Okay, you could do some cropping on this image, or you can do some magnification on this image. You can tilt this image by some degrees, and again you will be getting a brand new image. And you can get this, and you can take this image as a new data point. Okay, you can take this image as a new source of data for your learning algorithm. So in this way, what you're doing is you are artificially creating data for your learning algorithm. Okay, so what I mean to say is that I'll show here. Now take this image. Okay, so what I have done in this image is I have basically cropped this image first, and then I have done some magnification of this image, and then I have tilted this image in the anti-clockwise direction to some degrees. Okay, so this is a brand new image for my new learning algorithm. Okay, and in this way what I have done, I have increased the amount of data with me. Okay, but although this kind of data augmentation does not cause a much increase in the accuracy of your learning algorithm. Why? Because this is often the artificially created data. Okay, and this data that you are creating, the new data, is very much correlated with the data that you have taken earlier. Why? Because these two images are often generated from this original image. Okay, so there would be a problem of correlation when you are doing the data augmentation. Okay, now this thing can also be used, the data augmentation thing can also be used when you are solving the problem of the digit recognition. Okay, so what you have is, you have, suppose here, the digit 4, and you can make a variety of data points using this original image. So I have some distorted samples of this image. Okay, although one thing to be noted here is that the distortion in these samples should not be a very high amount of distortion. Why? Because these images that are artificially created from the original image should not lose their identity on being modified. Okay, so this thing has to be kept in mind, that there has to be a bit subtle changes in these images that are created artificially. Okay, so this is all the concept of data augmentation that we can study here. Okay, and now let us move to the next slide now. Okay, so in this slide, what we are going to study is, we are going to study the early stopping method. Okay, so this is a method that can be used if you are not willing to use the regularization in your data set. Okay, and this is although not a new kind of regularization method, but this works similar to the way in which the regularization work. Why? Because regularization, what basically does it is, it penalizes some of your nodes. Okay, and which results in the penalization of your parameter w. And basically, by early stopping, what you will be doing is, again you will be penalizing your learning algorithm. That is, you will be penalizing the parameter w because of the early stopping. Okay, so this works again as the regularization. Okay, so let us continue and study about what early stopping means to us. Okay, so now you can see that we have this graph here in front of us. Okay, and the x-axis of this graph basically denotes that what are the number of iterations. Okay, so as you can see that if we apply the gradient descent on our learning algorithm, then what would be the graph for the gradient descent or the cost function that I would get? Okay, so if I've been told that I have to plot the graph for my learning algorithm or the training dataset error, so suppose that following will be the graph that will be drawn. Okay, for my training error. Okay, or this could even be the graph for my cost function j. Why? Because cost function often decreases as the number of iteration increases. Okay, now what is happening that this was the graph that we have obtained on the training data set. Okay, and now since we are facing the problem of overfitting, now I have been told that Harshit, you need to draw a graph again for when these number of iterations are applied to the development data set results. So what is the new graph that I would be getting here is this is basically the new graph that I am obtaining here. Okay, so this is the graph that I'm obtaining for the development set error. So now what is happening here, I have some very minimum number of iterations. Okay, and these two, training error and the development set error, are at the same point at this stage. Okay, that is a very minimal value. And now, since I am increasing the value of the number of iterations, so at a particular point and after that, the development set error is subsequently increasing as compared to the training set error. Okay, so now if we take the number of iterations to be of a very small value, then at these smaller value of number of iteration, what you often do is that you take the value of w, parameter w, to be of a very small value that is really close to the zero. Okay, because what we often say when we start treating our learning algorithm, okay, so in the initial number of iterations we take the value of w to be of a very small number. Okay, and maybe this number is really very close to zero. Okay, so in the initial number of iterations we take the value of parameter w to be nearby or equal to zero. Okay, and as you increase the number of iterations, so there here in the graph there is a very large value of w. Okay, so this very large value of w would tend to decrease the problem of variance, but often it would have the problem of biasness also. Okay, and this is the mid portion where you would have an optimal value of the parameter w. Okay, so there would be a mid size value of the Frobenius norm of the parameter w. Okay, so this would be the intermediate value, and this is basically the optimal point where we need to get. Okay, this is the optimal point where you are getting an appropriate value of bias and variance, and your data is neither too much overfitting nor it is too much underfitting. Okay, so this is the point that we are going to achieve. Okay, and so if you take down these points, okay, so what you can often do is, if you don't want to apply regularization over your learning algorithm, so what you can do here is you can stop the learning of your algorithm after a certain number of iterations. Okay, so suppose that if I stop the learning of my algorithm at this point, okay, so at these number of iteration I stop the learning of my algorithm, and now this point would be giving the optimal result for my learning algorithm. Why? Because if I increase the number of iteration, then what is happening is the training set error is going down. Okay, the training set error is decreasing, but what is often happening that the development set error is increasing now. Okay, so at this point I have an optimal level of both training set error as well as the development set error. Okay, and this is actually the intermediate case that I am thriving to achieve. Okay, so I need to keep or capture this point, and this is the point where I would often get the minimal result or the optimal result. Okay, so now we have studied all the concept related to the high variance problem. Okay, and how we can actually deal with this problem of high variance. Okay, using the method of regularization, or instead of using the regularization, what we can do is we can do often early stopping method. Okay, so that you don't need to use the concept of regularization. Okay, and now one thing that is needed to be noted here is that when you are solving these problems, okay, so what you first do is, you basically optimize your cost function j. As you basically optimize your cost function j, and there are a few number of methods that you could use in order to optimize your cost function j. So basically till now we have studied about the gradient descent. Okay, that we are often using to optimize our cost function j. Okay, so first we are doing is we are optimizing our cost function j, and then we are seeing that whether the algorithm is overfitting to our data set or not. Okay, so then we are looking at the problem of overfitting separately. Okay, so how to deal with these problems of overfitting? We could often use regularization, or there is a early stopping method that we are just studying now. Okay, and this is a whole separate step that we are following in order to reduce the overfitting from your learning algorithm. Okay, and what we can often see that this is a very cost effective, this is a very cost taking method. Why? Because you are separately first optimizing your cost function, and then you are solving the problem of overfitting. Okay, instead of using this, what we can often do is we can optimize our cost function to a certain level, and then at a particular point we can see that whether this cost function is causing overfitting to our data set or not. So if it is not causing overfitting to our data set, then we can perform more number of iterations of our gradient descent method. And after a particular point, we can again test that whether the algorithm is causing overfitting to our data set or not. And yes, if it is causing the overfitting, then what we can do, we can often reverse our process, or we can stop the number of iterations over there. Okay, and we don't need to go till the last point where we take a very large value of w. Okay, so this method where the parallel operation of optimization of cost function along with the overfitting precautions takes place is also known as orthogonalization. Okay, okay, and we are going to see this method of parallel operation in the future video lectures. Okay, so this much in this video lecture. I hope the method of early stopping would have been very much clear to you, and this method is often treated as another way or another method of regularization that you could use in order to solve the problem of overfitting on your learning algorithm. Okay, so I hope this much is clear to you, and hope this video lecture would have been very much informative to you. Thanks for watching this video lecture. If you really like this video lecture, then please hit the like button. If you have any doubts regarding this lecture, or if you want that I should explain more about this lecture, then you can write me in the comment section. You can share my video lecture within your community, and you can subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thank you so much.